All right, so how many of you know who Norma Miller is? And how many of you are meeting her for the first time tonight? This introduction is really for that latter group right there. So welcome back to the Bay Area, Norma. Nice to see you.
Okay, all right, beautiful.
How are you doing?
I can dig it. Okay.
Okay, so I was at home digging around on Google and YouTube and digging up some videos, and so I thought maybe a good way to introduce you to the newbies here is by putting up some photos here. So you want to tell us who this is?
What do you mean? Oh, shut up. They're messing with you. See, this is what happens when you get old. They start messing with you. But they don't know I got something for them.
All right, so we've got Miss Norma Miller here.
Thank you so
Please see the next picture. Who's this lovely lady?
I had a waistline at one time. And that's proof. I had a waistline. Brings back a lot of memories, dearie. Brings back a lot of memories. I remember, God, what happened?
Okay, so for those of you who are here for the first time, Norma Miller is one of the original Whitey's Lindy Hopping dancers from the 1930s and 40s. She danced in the Savoy ballroom. Let's see let's go forward here a little bit here. Do you know these guys right here?
Well, that was when we had just finished making Day at the Races in 1937. And that was George Greenwich on the first Ella, Snooky Beasley, Willa Mae Ricker. That was the Mighty Whitey, myself, it's Leon James, my sister Dot, and Johnny. That was Whitey's chauffeur. That was the group that made Day at the Races, 1937. Damn, God. And we were so excited when we got our first paycheck. So we decided we were all going to buy white suits. And this was in Los Angeles. Have you noticed Whitey's Lindy Hoppers? We were Frank Sebastian's Cotton Club at that time. And we walked out a place called Central Avenue, Chester, Central Avenue. No, when we walked down Central Avenue, it was like the parting of the waves when Moses opened the waters. And we all walked down Central Avenue to show our white suits because we had just made a first movie and the world for the first time saw the Lindy Hop. That was the first time that it was on the screen.
Now, this is a fine looking group of dancers here. Can you tell us a little bit more about Whitey's Lindy Hoppers and how you made it onto that team?
Well, this was the first group that was named Whitey's Lindy Hoppers because Ethel Waters, the great star, named us. We was in her show that we had traveled from New York all the way out to the West Coast. We played all the Paramount theaters across the country. And we got to Los Angeles and we were playing the Paramount Theater I think there's a Paramount Theater, was it in San Francisco or was it in Los Angeles? A Paramount Theater in Los Angeles. And they saw us in the scene. Now remember, this was before computers or anything. They had never seen the Lindy Hop itself on the West Coast. So now this gave them a chance. When they saw this, they were making a movie called Day at the Races starring the Marx Brothers. They saw our scene. They had a big colored scene. In those days, we were called colored. So don't get offended. See? We had a few names along the way, but colored was what this scene was. And so they decided what we were doing would add to the movie. And that was that scene, they brought back the whole cast for us to do our number that we were doing at the Paramount Theater. And in this scene was Ivy Anderson who was the singer at that time with Duke Ellington. She had just made I Got It Bad, It Ain't Good. And she had a hit record. So she was the singer. And she said, "Oh, God's children got rhythm." And you don't recognize that number. That was the number we did in the movie. And this was the group that did that scene. The first time Hollywood, the world ever saw the Lindy Hop on stage. And that was with Dead to Races, 1937. And that's the proof I got me a white suit out of it.
Cool. So now that was not the only movie that you performed in.
No, but that was the first.
Okay.
Now the world, for the first time, saw the Lindy Hop. The Lindy Hop was done on the East Coast. And they knew about it, but they had never, there was no cameras like you guys got today.
Where on the East Coast did you guys dance in Lindy Hop?
Well, it was in New York City and Harlem. And it was there that Emma Waters saw us and wanted us in her show, because she wanted to learn how to do the Lindy Hop. So she came to the Savoy.
I think we have some photos.
And Frankie Banning was the first one, the only one that was allowed to teach her. Frankie, he was the only one allowed to teach Emma Waters how to do the Lindy Hop, because she did the Lindy Hop in the finale of the show. And that was how the Lindy Hop got spread across the country. They did not dance past Kansas City in those days. So we used to do 4 shows a day. And at night every city we'd have to go into a nightclub and give an exhibit of what the Lindy Hop was. And we did that cross country. Oh, brother, boy, did we do it, dance. God, listen, I danced and danced and danced. I danced and danced. We sleep on benches and chairs. It was all raw and crude, but we spread the word physically. Now you can Google your ass up with it. It's a different world.
So here is just a little picture of the Savoy Ballroom
That's
outside
it.
here.
That was a place where I made my debut. And it was there, the Savoy Ballroom. I used to live right in back of the ballroom. I lived right in back of it. And I used to be able to stand on the fire escape and watch the dancers in the ballroom. And that was...
And how old were you then?
I was going to ask the same question.
Well, I got my opportunity to dance in the ballroom. I was 12 years old. And I danced with the great Twist Mouth George on an Easter Sunday afternoon.
How old was he?
Oh, I don't know. He looked old. Everybody looked old. But he was a strange-looking man. He was the one that was actually credited with creating this thing we call the Lindy Hop. And as a kid, we used to watch these people do this dance. So when I got a chance to dance with him, now remember, he's 6 foot tall, I came up to his knees. And he took me up to the ballroom to dance, not a contest, just to exhibit. And believe me, I danced with the great Twist Mouth Joe. Honey, I was precocious, fast, and I knew I could dance as good as him. And my feet never touched the floor. Never. It was just the first and only time I prayed to see the Savoy Ballroom, and I was 12 years old when I saw the inside of the world, at that time, the greatest ballroom in the world to me.
I think we have an image of the inside.
You have? Yeah. There's the inside of the ballroom. Yeah. That was where the 2 bandstands were on that side, on your left. That's the 2 bandstands. And over here is a place where the hostesses used to sit, because it was a place where men and everybody could come to the ballroom. But if a single man came to the ballroom, there was a lady there who would dance with him. They were called the hostesses, not whores, hostesses. There was no fraternizing in the ballroom. That's what they thought, but that was what. But they were the most. Now, you see, you had dancing girls in the theaters. They had to be pretty girls, light skin and all that kind of jazz. But in the Savoy Ballroom, you had colored girls. Now, in those days, were light-skinned girls. Colored girls could be any color. If she was groomed well and good-looking, she could become a dance hostess, and that was that side where they sat over here. And when a gentleman would come and present a ticket, she was allowed to dance with him. She was not allowed to date him. I mean, a lot of people confuse. No dating. You can only dance with her or with that ticket. And that's how, in those days, you might not know about this. There's a thing that came up, 10 cents a dance. That's what they called me, 10 cents a dance. That was how that came about. That was what that was from. And they were the dance hostesses of the Savoy Ballroom, the most beautiful colored girls you would ever see. Now, your color was allowed, but your color was not allowed as a chorus girl. That was different if you had a dark skin. So, but now dark is in, girl. You don't have to worry about it.
All right.
You got it made.
I think I've got a little video clip here. Let's see if we can
What is this? Oh, I get that on my computer. Yeah. Oh, hot chocolate.
So feel free to talk us through this, Norma, and tell us who's on screen.
There's Ivy Anderson. That was the Mighty Duke. The elegant Ellington. These were fixation girls who gave atmosphere to the scene. Now this is where, look, that's Ann Johnson, Frank, Down, Mickey, Willamette, Al looked like a pimp. That was me on the end, Billy Rickard. We had just finished making the movie Day of the Races. This was an extra job we had. It was cold as hell that day. Look. That's Downs and Mickey. Now, here comes, there's another atmosphere girl. This is me and Billy Rickard. Look. I created that step. I busted my ass on that step. God, you couldn't believe that, Jesus. Go, Billy, that's Downs and back. Al Mims and Willamette Rickard. He's the first one to go out and began teaching the Lindy. That was Al Mims. There go to Mighty Frank. No one did it better than Frank. No one. He could swing his ass off. Look at that. He was just great. This is called the horse. Yeah. We call that the horse. Showbiz was a bitch, I'm telling you. I want to tell you something about the great Duke Ellington. He was such an elegant man. When he was a producer, I worked with him in Jump for Joy. Now, with Duke Ellington, when you were in his presence, you was like being in the presence of God. I mean, there was a man that you just couldn't believe he walked on water. But when you left me, I was an assistant choreographer with the great Nick Castle, who helped choreograph Helps Are Poppin'. And when we would leave a meeting, and we'd do this. I mean, what would you expect to be when you're in front of royalty? And when you was in front of Duke Ellington, believe me, you just looked and you sat there spellbound because he was brilliant. He wrote everything for his band, as opposed to Basie. Basie had arrangements right for his band. And Macy used to tell his arrangers, make sure when you write that music, keep the dancers dancing on the floor. So if you listen to any basic tune, you could dance to it.
All right, let's put our hands together for Ms. Norma Miller. Move along with our introduction to our guest of honor. We've got Ms. Nina Vitale here. She's local here from the Bay Area, part of the Northern California Litany Society. But who I'd really like to introduce next is Chazz Young.
Okay.
Now Chazz, you've been dancing for a long time, huh?
Yes, I've been really dancing. I would say start at 17 when Frankie, my dad, took me to meet Miss Miller because she was looking for some dancers. And my dad said, well, Norma's looking for some dancers. And he took me to meet Miss Miller. And the first thing that comes out of Norma's mouth is she said to Frankie, I didn't even know you had a son. That's the truth. And I finally figured it out. If I couldn't have danced, Norma would have never met me.
He's one of my Chazz in the corner. Those are my jazzmen. They were called the Awesome Foursome. These were the greatest array of jazz dancers. And that was the Norma Miller and her jazzmen. And that was when I was regaled in gorgeous gowns. And I said, y'all dance, I'm gonna look beautiful.
And she did. Norma really, really, really looked beautiful. Except for one day. We were up in the concert. I gotta tell you this. I was rehearsing the music and I looked over in the corner. There's Norma with a house dress on. It looked like she needed a pail and a mop. She came out and she knew what she was doing. She came out walking around. I asked Norma, I thought I gave you the rest of the day off. But that night,
See that outfit?
see this outfit? She has a gold lame gown and a pink boa hat. And she steps out on stage, I must say, she was gorgeous.
And the boa, 4 guys could sit up on, you notice, the 4 guys, they're carrying the boa.
Yes.
And I mean, and they had a beat, I mean, and it just, they were just, I didn't teach them how to do that. They had a rhythm. And it's amazing, these 4 guys, they were so brilliant. Listen, I'm telling you, I mean, we were bitch, I'm telling you, bitch. It was great, goddamn, boy, what happened?
So Chazz Young these days is, are you still living in Las Vegas?
Yes, I am.
Okay, but that's only between your gigs traveling around the world teaching jazz and tap.
Yes, I'm very, very, very fortunate. I've been going to the camp in Harang in Sweden for the past 23 years. And 19 of those years with me and my dad, we went to Harang to dance. So that was
wonderful.
By the way, if you don't know about the Harang Dance Camp, it is a great place. It's a magical place in Sweden. Every summer for 5 weeks, they've got an excellent dance camp. And
It's the best.
yeah.
It's the internship of all jazz dancing. I go the last 2 weeks a year, but really any kind, any style of dance in jazz or swing, you can learn it at Harang. They have the best teachers. And Chazz is the best jazz teacher out here today. I mean, it's jazz teacher. Jazz and swing interact. And I was a jazz dancer. And with all I know, I pass it on to Chazz. Now Chazz, I noticed, is passing it on to you. Because you must know jazz if you swing. The 2 things go together. And it's almost a dying art because nobody even knows the hell what jazz is anymore. But we created this great jazz dance. My days are ending, but when I'm leaving, I think it's in perfect hands. And this the great Cecil B. DeMille of the Lindy Hop is over here. He's producing the show. He'll be producing Frankie Manning's show that we're going to do in New York in May. And, but you see, all do in our business of dance comes from what you do. We pick our artists from you. As you're dancing and coming up and you get better and better, you're going to step into these shoes because we created a style of dance that belonged to us. America, the greatest thing in America was jazz. We created jazz and we exported it around the world. Now today you can go around the world. You can hear Louis Armstrong. You can hear Basie. You can hear the Duke Ellingtons. This is what we do. When I leave here this week, next week I'll be in Germany. Would you believe it? And everybody in Germany on the dance floor look like Frankie Mann. It's amazing. But swing is around the world and it's just beautiful. And it's because of what you do that keeps it going. And it's important you keep it going. If you dig swing, baby sweetie, you'll dig fried chicken.
Okay, speaking of amazing dancers who are also traveling around the world and helping spread the Lindy Hop and jazz dancing and tap, could you, maybe Chazz, could you help me introduce Chester here? Who's his goofball here?
Most certainly will. I mean, this man does everything. He creates on the spot, and he will be producing Frankie 100. And they couldn't have found a better person.
That's
I'm
right.
very, very happy to introduce Mr. Chester Whitmore.
So in addition to being a goofball, Chester, there you see him, I believe you've helped produce movies and have been on some choreography on MTV. He's a martial artist, he's a band leader, and he's an amazing tap dancer. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started tap dancing?
Oh, well.
Or some of your influences?
Well, the year was 19... That was good, yeah. In those days, I was I'm a videographer, I was a cinematographer. I was doing some research in dance, the history of American dance, and I wanted to know about more of the vernacular form of dancing at that time. And then in those days, you must be talking about the 60s or so, everybody was doing the Motown sound. They go stacks and the twist and the jerk. And the swim and all that stuff. And my attention to jazz music was always the foundation of greatness. And I went with this gentleman in fall, had a flat tire at the time, and I wanted to know about tap dance, you know, the vernacular form of dance. And he had a flat tire, and nobody was helping him, and I helped him change his tire. And he looked on my bicycle, saw a pair of tap shoes. Oh, you're a hooper, not a heifer. And he said, you know, I tap dance. If you want to learn how to tap dance, come by. And I didn't believe this guy, and I'm doing 6 months of researching. I'm going to know about particular styles of dancing. And one day I said, I'm going to take this man's offer up. And I went over his house. He said, oh, you ready to learn? I said, yes, I'm ready to learn. And he pulled the rug up. He said, show me your dance steps. And
Show me what you got.
show me what I got. In them days, I was doing tap 101. I thought I was hot stuff. I knew that my stuff was great. I said, stand back. You're going to see something you never saw. I said, ding, 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 ding. I said, beat that. He said, interesting. He moved over. He got up there and he said, and he looked at me and I looked at him and said, mine doesn't look like that. He said, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. I stayed with that gentleman 2 years and a half. We became great friends. And he was teaching me everything. Went to every one of his classes. He gave me a job, not knowing who this person was. Late at night one day, 3 in the morning, there was this film that came on. All black cast. Now y'all got to remember this. The black people wasn't always on TV. It was on TV all the time. So I'm waking up in the middle and I'm seeing an all black cast and people singing and dancing. I'm going, they're color people. Wow. They're dancing. And the guy with the hidey ho, whoa. At the end of the movie, these two guys going, bam, splits over each other. Wow, wham,
Is this the film with Cap Calloway in it?
Yeah, Cap Calloway
I
was
think we
there.
have this film.
Yeah, that was.
Let's see. Let's see if it's the same one.
Listen to how the music interact. Watch it. It's unreal. Look at this. Watch. And no help getting up. Watch it. I'm amazed every time I see it. I can't believe it. Watch it. Oh. Oh, God. That's the great Benny Payne on piano. That's Benny Payne. Oh, God. Oh, watch this. It's synchronizing music and movement. No one ever did it better. Oh, 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 God. I get excited. Watch this. And they're enjoying themselves. Look at their faces. That's Harold and that's Bayard. Oh my God. But it's unbelievable. But perfect synchronization. Unreal. They were just the best.
We have to start wrapping the introductions up. But was this is the film that you were watching on TV late night?
And you mean to tell me it took you 2 years to find out that that was Fayard who was fixing the time?
That's the one? That was my instructor, right?
There you go.
So let's put them together for Chester Whitmore. I believe both Chazz and Chester will be teaching some jazz and tap this weekend, so you get a chance to learn from them. And we've got some other great instructors here. We'll be introducing them shortly. Let's put our hands together one last time for all of our guest providers. Welcome to the Bay Area. We're glad to have you, and we're looking forward to hearing more.